Hey, aloha, everybody. This is Jeff Reinebold, and this is Coffee with the Coach. One more time, we're back at it. It's a Wednesday show. Normally, we do this on Tuesdays, but we are in the midst of a really crazy thing in the CFL. You know, we have a different kind of schedule, different kind of season schedule. We're playing 4 games in 17 days, 4 games in 17 days, and we're getting ready to play our third one Friday. Then we'll come back next Wednesday and play that 4th game within 17-day period. Against Ottawa next week in Ottawa. So it is crazy busy. I had a coaching commitment, couldn't do the show yesterday at our regular time. So we kicked it back to Wednesday, which is good, I think, because Mike's put together a great show for us. Michael, come on out here and let's talk a little ball.
Jeff, good evening. And good evening, first of all, to Fred Flunk, who says aloha.
Hey, my man Fred is always here. Hey, it's great to have the tribe weighing in. Owen Thomas says, aloha, Coach. How you doing, Owen? Everybody that's out there, hit us, let us know. It's going to be a great show tonight. We're going to talk about the week that was in the National Football League, the week that's coming in the National Football League. And I got to ask you, Magic Mike, how was your show in Aviva Stadium?
Let's just say, well, I haven't even told you half the stories yet. Basically, my county, like where I'm from, won the equivalent of the Super Bowl in Ireland on Saturday.
In what? Guinness drinking or what?
Well, that and Gaelic football. So it was.
Gaelic football for really?
Yeah, we won it for the first time in 13 years. So it was a big thing, and it was very difficult to sit here after driving home again to edit the show. It took me to maybe 8 in the morning, but it was a fantastic experience. And thank you for your support last weekend. I know a lot of people that watch the show were watching it as well, so thanks a million. We're giving away copies of Madden tomorrow night, so if anybody does want to listen to us talk some Giants, some Washington, Jeff, and I've got a proposal for you before we bring our guest on. We could rename the show to Beer with Coach instead of Coffee with Coach tonight. Yeah.
Not when I'm working, buddy. It's going to have to be coffee, but I think that's awesome. Gaelic football, man, that's a barbaric sport. How much blood was spilled in that thing?
It's not too bad. Like, it's just boys wrecking each other. Like, but I think people outside of Ireland watch it and they're like, "What is this?" Hurling's worse. Hurling's with the sticks, and that would be you have to wear helmets and stuff. But no, like we're used to where I'm from didn't win anything until 2003, so it's still quite new to us. And it was Jeff. It was a pretty crazy weekend, and never mind the NFL coming back the day after. It was good crack, as we say.
Hey, you know what? This show is all about the fans, and it's all about the NFL fans around the world that make the game what it is and how much fun it is to watch. And we're going to bring in one of our guys, one of the big supporters of a team that did really, really well, and I think surprised some folks in Week 1, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes, sir. Tom from British Bird Gang's coming on. If anybody is watching this and you want to get questions, comments in, there's a few comments that come in. We will read them all out after the guest. There's a special guest that Jeff has no idea about coming on at about
I can't wait.
35.
I can't wait for this one. Now, let's make it perfectly clear to everybody out there in the tribe.
Yeah.
We want to read your question. We want to read your take. We are even going to read your rants as long as it's not full of swear words. But we'll only do it if you tell us where you're writing in from or calling in from or however you get in because we are going to have a good show. Let's bring on Tom Donlan he's the owner of British Bird Gang, which is the largest Arizona Cardinal fan club in the UK.
Let's bring him on. Enjoy, boys.
Tom, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. It was a good week for us this week. So,
my man, I would say it's a little better than a okay week. That's a great week. What a start. There is nobody. I mean, I really truly believe this. I don't think anybody saw the beatdown that they gave the Tennessee Titans coming. Now, there were people who thought you would go in there and win, but I mean, that was that's as they say down in Texas, that's a take them out behind the woodshed and beat them kind of day. 38-13, you're ahead 24-6 at halftime and looked like you're going to score 60 in the game.
Yeah. It was everything just seemed to click for us in this game. Like the offense played exceptionally well. Defense just shut down Derrick Henry. And like the secondary managed to control both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Can't really complain about that.
No, I tell you what, and the guy that I was really impressed with, and there were a number of players in the game that I thought played extremely well for the Cardinals, but your quarterback, Kyler Murray, really, really showed what he can do when he's healthy. I think last year, he was dinged up maybe a little more than people thought or that, people knew. And, 21 of 32, 289. But the big number is the touchdown to interception ratio, 4-1. What a day for that young quarterback.
Yeah. We know that's what he's capable of doing, though, because he started off hot last year and then tailed off, after he started really well. I think he did get injured against Miami, but as you say, it wasn't publicized. It was more he was still able to play, but it just wasn't as effective as he started the season out. So hopefully he carries on this performance further into the season, and then who knows what will happen.
Well, I think it was really interesting to me to see, I thought Chase Edmonds played real well. He averaged over 5 yards a carry. And when you're able to run the football, that really helps any passing game. And you talk about a passing game, Kirk and D-Hop each had 2 touchdowns themselves. That's the first time I think that's ever happened in Arizona Cardinal history where 2 different receivers had multiple touchdowns in a game. So, that offense was clicking on all cylinders. It was great to see Kelvin Beachum, who's a great friend of this show, have another, he's having another really, really good season. And, I'm really pleased because he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. Talk to us about, was there any, and I know J.J. Watt said he wasn't surprised, but in your mind, as a guy, Tom, who loves the Arizona Cardinals, did you see a 5-sack night coming for Chandler Jones?
I didn't know, but I mean, obviously he's capable of doing it because he's had multiple sacks in quite a lot of games while he's played for the Cardinals, and he's come into this season with a motive, he needs to get his extension, or if he doesn't get it here, someone else is going to be paying him. So yeah, he just had a ridiculously good game and made Taylor Lewan look like an undrafted free agent.
Well, I tell you what, when I was actually in Phoenix, I can't remember what I was doing. I think I was working out a player. I was in Phoenix when they were able to acquire Chandler Jones from the Patriots. And at that time, if you remember back that's when the Cardinals were really a really good football team. And they thought this was going to be the guy that was going to be that missing piece on defense. And he's had a very good career with the Cardinals, but I mean, he was unblockable. And like you said, that was Taylor Lewan he was going against most of the day. And to get 5 sacks against Taylor Lewan, that's a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment. Now you got J.J. Watt, again, who's more a complimentary piece at this time in his career, but still an awful nice complimentary piece. And boy, I tell you what, Isaiah Simmons, 9 tackles in the game, sideline to sideline, really showed his versatility, his athleticism. That is a salty defense they got up there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's questions about the secondary, but the rest of the team just looks really good. Defensive line, as you say, J.J. Watt's on that now. And obviously you can try and block Chandler Jones now, but if they do, then they're probably going to have to single J.J. And I don't think anyone's going to be doing that. So, we got depth on the defensive line as well. Linebackers look good as well. So, as long as it keeps on like this, who knows what the defense will do this year.
Well, tell me now about your fan club. I guess, or do you call it fan club or association or whatever? You guys, how did this come about, and why did you guys pick the Cardinals? Because the Cardinals are a little bit of a, under the radar team a little bit, or have been for a long time. And obviously they're very dynamic now with a lot of talent, young talent on that football team. But why the Cardinals?
I mean, for quite a lot of our members, there's loads of different things. Some people have been to Arizona, some people have lived in Arizona or been on holiday there. But for me personally, I was just picking on Madden back in 2009 and ended up picking up my player. So that's how I've decided to become a Cardinals fan, and I've stuck by them since then.
How big is the organization? And if somebody's listening out there that wants to follow what you guys do or join or be a part of the action with the British Bird Gang, what do they go through to be a part of the gang?
It's quite easy because we're pretty active on the Twitter at British Bird Gang. We like live tweet every single game, post during the week, really active, that sort of thing. We're on Facebook as well. That's also British Bird Gang.
Awesome.
Loads of places for it.
How many of your members have actually been to the Valley of the Sun and seen a game in Arizona?
I think we've got a good few who've been over for a game, but we've been planning hopefully to go over last couple of years, but obviously with everything that's happened, it's just been a non-starter really. So hopefully for next year, which will be our 10th year, maybe then we can do something in Arizona.
I tell you what, that would be a great 10th year celebration to go over and see a game. It is a beautiful stadium. Obviously, Phoenix and the whole Valley of the Sun it's a wonderful place. You can thaw out or dry out or whatever from being in the UK in a week in Arizona. Let's talk about the Cards just a little bit more and going forward. Now, obviously, you're in a tough division, right? And there's a kind of a belief in football that that when you play in a tough division, that every road win is multiplied because you want to win all your home games and split on the road, and that's a pretty good theory in terms of getting to the playoffs. Looking at the schedule ahead, Tom, where do you see the tough ones coming, the tough games?
I think every game is going to be tough this year, but we've got a decent sort of the first 3 games. We've got Tennessee, which we've done. We've got Minnesota coming up next, and then after that's Jacksonville. And then after that, we've got 2 divisional games. I think we play the Rams, and then we play the Niners. So, if we get through these first 3 games, hopefully 3-0, then, those 2 games against the division, that'll be really, really tough. At that point, all of the division might still be 3-0 because it's that good of a division.
Well, let's talk about this weekend. Now, how do you see this one?
Yeah, this is obviously there's going to be the main overhang. The main overhanging thing will be the return of Patrick Peterson to Arizona. So, he might not have been that big of a thing for us coming into this season because we were obviously going to be moving on for him, but he'll be wanting to prove a point. Maybe shut down DeAndre Hopkins if he can.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. He's going to have a long night if he thinks he's going to shut down DeAndre Hopkins, because that catch DeAndre Hopkins made in the back of the end zone, you talk about body control and awareness. And what an amazing football player that guy is. And now with Kirk and some of the weapons around him, I think another year in the offense, Kyler another year in the offense, they're going to go against a Minnesota Viking defense that is struggling. And I think that this could be a great start for Arizona. Get out to be 2-0, and as you say, then they've got another team on the road that you should be able to beat. And a 3-0 start puts you in really good position. That's why I think, even though it's early in the season, that win against Tennessee was huge for Arizona.
Yeah, I was expecting a win because I'm a massive homer like that. But
at least you're honest.
Someone has to think. I remember seeing all the expert picks; they were all going for Tennessee to win pretty convincingly. So
I just got to tell you, I was one of those experts. I really thought that we would see an improved defense in Tennessee, and they really disappointed me. Really disappointed me offensively. They weren't able to. Once they got behind, that's not a recipe for success for that football team, because they need to run the ball. They need to be able to, chew the clock up and go to the play action stuff. And once Arizona got ahead, by 24-6 at halftime, the game's over with, because that's not a team that's built to play from behind, which is interesting about the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are dynamic enough on offense that if they get, and they're going to be in a tough division where they are going to get behind sometimes, that they have the weaponry now to make chunk plays, to make big plays, and to get themselves back into every game.
Yeah, like you say, we've got the weapons in the pass game, and then we've got an improved running game with Chase Edmonds, James Conner, Kyler Murray as well uses his legs quite often. So, yeah, if they need to chew the clock, they should be able to do that this year.
What's the long term? What do you see? Give me a number, prediction, how many they're going to win in a 17-game schedule.
Well, my original prediction is like 9 and 8 for this season, but I could easily see them winning 10 or 11 games if they have a bit of luck on the side, which you never had last year.
Well, now you think about it, seriously, and again, every week's a new week in the National Football League. We know that, and injuries and all that stuff factor into it. But right now, if they get off to that 3-0 start, right, and you think about that now, you're 14 games left. You're already 3-0 to win 10 games. Really, all they got to do is be 7. They got to be 500 over the back of the season, right? So I really think that's a conservative estimate. If they can get to if they can get out to that 3-0 start, this is a team that could win 12 games. And again, that might be good enough to get them in the playoffs. It should be good enough to get them in the playoffs. So it's an exciting time right now for Arizona Cardinal fans everywhere, but particularly Arizona Cardinal fans in the UK.
Absolutely, yeah. And like as you say, like I think it all comes down to the division games. Like if we can manage to be at least 3-3 in the division, we've got a good chance of making it into the playoffs, provided we don't like have silly losses on the road, which in games which we should have won.
Exactly. And, again, so much of it is confidence. And you're talking about a team that's really still trying to find itself. This team's been put together in the last, really, there was kind of a change from, when BA left, and then they kind of got, as you said, moved on from Patrick Peterson, moved on from Fitzgerald, moved on from some veteran players. It's a new team, and it's finding its way. And, I think you got great character in the locker room. I know Kelvin Beacham's that kind of guy. Watt's that kind of guy. Kelvin tells me that Kyler Murray is a fantastic teammate. So, again, all those things are really, really positive for Arizona. If they can stay healthy and they keep on a roll, I think this is going to be a playoff team. So it's got to be for your fan club, it's got to be big time news.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, as you say, like we had the Steve Wilkes era where we were like 3-13. Then Cliff Kingsbury came in. We got Kyler Murray, and like year 1, it was okay. Year 2, there was improvement. If year 3 continues like week 1 has been, there's going to be even more improvement, and then who knows where they're going to end up.
So is there anything you guys got planned special going down through the season to, viewing parties or things that you do that Arizona Cardinal fans around the world would want to know about?
We've always tried to do something, but it's hard at the moment, with everything COVID related and all that. And like, obviously the British Bird Gang, we're scattered all over the country. So trying to pinpoint like one location, which is convenient for everyone, considering we're like usually the late games on a Sunday as well. So it's kind of hard to do, but it's something we would like to do a lot more of.
Well, my man, you got to get the flock together, and you guys got to have a viewing party somewhere, because I'd love to be a part of it once I get over there in after our season's over with. And again, Tom, I really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much for coming on, talking about the British Bird Gang, talking about your beloved Cardinals, and again, to you, your fans, your fan club, your organization, and the Arizona Cardinals, best of luck as you go down through these next 16 weeks of football.
Cheers. Thanks for having us on.
All right, man. Thank you so much. That's awesome to have Tom with us today. Love it when we can get fans on the show, Michael. Outstanding. Every week we'd like to feature a fan club from one of the NFL franchises to just talk some football.
Seriously, it doesn't matter who you support. British Bird Gang on Twitter is a good follow. They change your name every week to something that's like their mood or whatever. Optimistic Bird Gang. It's really good. Do you have the special guesses here before we bring this person in? I'm going to give you 1 or 2 guesses. Do you want to guess who it is?
I have no idea. I've been coaching football all week.
He got a win at the weekend. How's that?
He got a win on the weekend. All right. Now, again, that means that's half the NFL. So I don't know. You got to come out. You got to give me some more than that.
All right, you know what? I'm not even going to announce it. I'll tweet it out so people can start asking questions. But I'm presuming he's okay to come in. His screen may or may not have went black, so I'm just hoping that he's here. He's here. It's fine. It'll be fine. I'm going to bring him in. Okay, I'm just going to see your reaction. So enjoy. Folks.
How are you doing, Coach? Big man? Hey, it's great to have you with us.
Coach, man, thanks for having me. Even though you didn't know I was coming, I appreciate you.
Hey, you know what? What an awesome surprise! It was interesting because I was looking at your something that you put out on Twitter just this morning, and I thought about you, and I said, we got to get you back on. And I had no idea that Mike had pulled this off. Tell me about the win. Like the scene in the locker room was awesome, right? You guys got a really close football team.
We do. We have a really young team that's very close, which is really special. I'm the old guy, man. I'm 27. I'm the oldest tight end in our room. I mean, that's like nothing I've ever experienced before. So, it's really unique, though. We have a great team that's really close, and that's a credit to Coach Rule and the staff. It's not cliche. It really is, because they bring everybody in. We have a whole new team from last year. 50% of the team's been flipped over. Draft picks, free agents. One of those free agents is Sam Darnold, who got to play as his team that he played with for 3 years, 4 years, or whatever he was with the Jets for, and got him a win, which is really cool.
All right, that's a big win. I wanted to go down that road, and
yeah, I figured you did.
Well, you know what? Because I saw Coach Rule gave the game ball to Sam, right? And I don't know if he fumbled it or fell on the ground or whatever, but it looked like he was pretty emotional about the fact because let's face it, it was tough for him in New York. And it's, the New York media, you're from the East Coast, you know how tough it can be in New York. And he was, the poster boy for everything that's wrong with the Jets. And he was the problem. And he was dump him. He's a failure and all that stuff. As a professional athlete, that hurts. You're not immune to the pain, right? And so for you guys, was it a little extra special?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of things, right, that go into the game, as especially when to the first win. You got a guy like Christian McCaffrey who hasn't won a football game since 2019.
What?
He hasn't been in a winning locker room since 2019.
That's amazing.
As a player.
That is an amazing stat.
I think he played 3 games last year. We didn't win the first game. I forget what happened the second game. I don't think we won. And then he got hurt in the second game. Then he came back for Kansas City, and we didn't win in Kansas City, even though it was a close game. So he hasn't won a game in 2 seasons. They've been in a winning locker room. So to get a win, he played fantastic as always, and we got a win. And then Sam Darnold, you get a win. And then Robbie Anderson, who's with the Jets, he scores from Sam. That's a big win for Robbie. So there's a lot of different things. And then you got on the young team, and you get on the, you get to show what it's like and what it takes to win a game. And how, even though we start out 16-0, right, it's coming down to the fourth quarter. This is the NFL. I don't care who you're playing, what you're playing, what's going on. Like, games don't happen like what happened in New Orleans and Green Bay. And Green Bay will be back and better than ever. We all know that. So, yeah, it was good for a young team to get a win, and have to hold together and put the hands team out there and go over the details of that is a good first win for us for sure. They're all good.
All right, now you guys do, I think it's a real cool thing, and I think one of your coaches actually started the tradition of singing "Sweet Caroline" in the locker room after a win. So give the fans just a couple bars. All right.
I will not be singing "Sweet Caroline," but I will say this: shout out to the great Ed Foley, our assistant special teams coach. He used to sing "High Hopes." Frank Sinatra, I believe, "High Hopes," when I was at Temple.
Get out of here.
And it was unbelievable. Oh, my goodness. We would sing it, scream it, and it was nuts. I mean, it was nuts. We're talking 100 guys, coaches, families, and it was crazy after wins, right? After some bigger wins, it was really crazy. And then, not the crazy, like put the club music on, like throw water around like that. To me, that's forced. We're talking singing together. It was unbelievable. And I'll never forget it. Some of my fondest memories in football was singing with him and tears and with this of joy, sometimes sadness, like crazy. pain, and then it comes to Carolina, and a lot of things, right, get brought over, which is great. That's how it should be. And yeah, Coach Foley started singing "Sweet Caroline," so you can't
That's
beat it.
awesome.
He's the
That
best,
is awesome.
and that's what's happened. No bars for me though tonight, man. No bars for me.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, fans. If you get a chance, get on YouTube, because I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, of a victorious Carolina Panther locker room, and they sing "Sweet Caroline," and it'll bring bring a tear to your eye. It really, really will. Hey, I got to tell you, dude, that ever since you were on the show the first time, I've been a big fan of yours, especially because you related your story of being one of the top high school players in America. You go to the University of Florida as you're a 5-star guy, go to the University of Florida, then the injuries start, and then the frustration starts, and then you go back to Temple. You're not even sure if you can ever even play football again. Then you play at Temple, and then the long journey to the NFL. And every time the Panthers would visit a tight end or sign a tight end in the offseason, I just go, "Oh, come on, man. No, my man." I'm so glad you're back and playing again, and it's a credit to you, really. It really is. Relate
Thank
your
you, man.
story. Relate your story for the listeners that haven't heard or don't know how incredible your story is.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey. It really has. And a lot of my teammates have overcome so much to get where they are. I'll tell my story in a second. Like, literally, I talk about it all the time, and I talk about some of my teammates, like guys from brutal upbringings, like literally don't know their next meal is, or they're homeless, or what. Like, I had everything in the world that I could have, that in my family we had, had to earn it, but I had everything I really needed for success, and everything came pretty easy, right? We were in high school, and I needed it. Coach said you need to gain weight, and okay, I'm lifting all the time, and I'm eating all the time, and I had protein shakes and everything under the sun that I needed to do that, right? Chocolate milks and PB&Js and an unbelievable high school program in Archbishop Wood, and right, like everything was going great. We wanted. I was a high school All-American and #1 tight end in the country ranked, and had just unbelievable coaching, like crazy coaching from a young level when I just got into football, when usually maybe that's not always the best level. I had great coaching there. Then went to high school and had, Pennsylvania Hall of Fame coaches and coaches that coached nationally ranked football teams and put dozens, hundreds of players at Division I level. So I gained the weight. Everything's going great. We win a state title, 52-0, largest margin of victory in Pennsylvania state history. We're playing a nationally ranked team, and we did that to them. We won we mercy ruled our last 14 opponents. Like, crazy things happened, right? Like, crazy. We were unreal. We lost our first game. We should have started the year with the cupcake, and we didn't, which is fine, right? That's how things go. But we had a lot of guys out of position. We lost to Pittsburgh Central Catholic on opening day in Pittsburgh on a controversial field goal. Was it good or wasn't? And we lost on national TV, and then we mercy ruled our next 14 opponents. And really, if we won that game, we would have been a top team in PA state history, but I guess now we're not. Now we lost one, but that's neither here nor there. So everything was going well, right? Everything's good. Played an Under Armour game, and life's good. I'm going to University of Florida. I'm going to play right away. I'm being sold as listen, we may or may not redshirt you. You're 250 pound. You're going to come in. You're going to have the size to play in the SEC. It's going to be you and this guy by the name of Jordan Reed, and you're going to play the Y. He's going to play the F, and it's all going to be great. So I'm going around the cone. I'm at Central Bucks West High School, which is a very, very prestigious high school in Pennsylvania back in the 90s and early 2000s, and they're doing well now too. And it's my hometown in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and I'm going around the cones. Mike Pettin, for those that are out there, Mike Pettin, that's where Mike Pettin's from. So going around the cone, and boom, my foot pops. So I break my right foot. And then I'll speed the story up here. So I go to University of Florida. I'm in training camp, and and it breaks again. Maybe it didn't heal right. We don't know, but I had to get another surgery. They put another deck screw in there, and there I go. So I'm in my recovery. And then my next year at Florida, I come out. I play 3 games. I'm feeling great. We played Tennessee the 3rd game. The swamp was crazy. I got to play on teams. I got to get some reps at tight end, and everything was great. I'm in like tears after the game. My parents, I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, I'm walking back after the game. We just beat Tennessee. People are throwing beers at me from across the parking lot. Like, there's chaos walking through the streets back to my house in Little Gainesville, Florida. Telling my parents, like, this is unbelievable. Like, I made it. I can play in this league. I can do this. Woke up the next morning. My foot was killing me. My left foot. I had some discomfort with it during the game, but nothing crazy. So I had a navicular stress fracture on it, which is a very controversial injury. If you follow the NBA, kind of hurt Joel Embiid's career. And it's a very controversial bone. How do you do it? How do you handle it? I didn't get the surgery. And I met with Robert Anderson in Charlotte, who's now in Green Bay, who's one of the best foot doctors in the country. So he's like, you can play. Everything's great. You'll be fine. Well, Florida didn't honor it. They said your career's done. They want you to be able to run around with your kids, have that time with your family, and you should be done playing football. You want to be able to walk and run and do all these things when you're older. So I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to fight it. I want to stay in Gainesville. And it didn't work out. So I ended up really putting my tail between my legs and leaving Gainesville. I was really upset, really distraught. Went from the number one tight end in the country 2 years ago to now I have no offers. I'm knocking on doors. I'm getting walk-on spots from Penn State. I'm getting a walk-on spot from UCF. And Marty Morningweg, an old friend, I went to school with Skyler.
Yeah, Marty and I shared an office together at the University of Montana.
There you go. So Marty Morningweg, who's in the Montana Football Hall of Fame, he got me a scholarship to Montana. This is when he was the OC with the Ravens. He was with the Eagles for majority of his pro coaching career for 10 years under Andy Reid. And he's like, I'll get you a scholarship. I'll reach out to Montana. I'll send him your tape. We'll get you a scholarship. So I got my first offer from Montana, and my next offer came, and it was from Temple. And this guy by the name of Matt Rule called, and he said, Colin, we're going to give you as much time as you need to heal and get right and recover. Whatever you need to get right. Whatever you need, we'll give it to you. So I said, okay, well, I think I'm going to go to Temple. It's close to home. No disrespect to Montana. It just wasn't the right fit. And I said, okay, I'm going to go to Temple and try this team that went 2-10 the year before and were the bottom of the American Athletic Conference. So I go to Temple. I get healthy. I had some struggles there still with injuries. It wasn't all, roses, but I overall was healthy and, played 3 seasons at Temple under Coach Rule. And yeah, the grind, the journey for that was tremendous. And we won. We went 6-6 the first year. We beat a ranked ECU, which was a big deal at the time. And then we went on to win 10 games, back-to-back seasons, won a conference championship, and then Coach Rule went off to Baylor. Obviously, we know his track. A couple of years at Baylor, flipped that program around, and now he's here in Carolina. So that's kind of how it ended at Temple. And then in the NFL, I went to the Giants. This is probably 2017 fall. I went to the Giants undrafted. And shout out to those guys at Pro Star Sports, who I know represent a lot of coaches in the league as well around football. Paul and Warren, very close with those two gentlemen, and they do a lot for me, and they've done a lot for me. So I go to the Giants undrafted, emergency appendectomy, got cut after the first game. Woke up the next morning after the first game, I should say, the first preseason game, and had pain in my stomach and got an appendectomy. And they say, listen, we'll bring you back in 2 weeks. They never brought me back. I was on the street for 10 weeks, 11 weeks. Zach Miller went down on Monday Night. I think he went down in New Orleans. I don't know if it was Monday Night Football, but he really hurt his leg, almost lost his leg. And then I went in for a tight end tryout in Chicago, and that's how I got in Chicago. I was with Chicago for the back half of Coach Fox's year. Then I went to the Bears for Coach Nagy and the new regime. I was there until the end of training camp. They traded up to Khalil Mack. I was shipped out. And then I was out of football for almost 2 years. It's crazy. And ended up working in finance and working in marketing for my mom's company and just doing a bunch of different things. Calling Temple games on the radio was so much fun for me. I did that for 3 seasons, man. I was a color commentary, play-by-play analyst on the sideline, did a little bit of everything while starting my podcast, Not For Long Media, when I found out the NFL stood for Not For Long when I got cut by the Giants. So I'll tell the quick version of it. I go to the AAF. When I was, the night before, the 2 days before, I had to work out with the AAF. I was at the Guinness factory having drinks and having a good time in Baltimore. And it's the off season, and my agent Warren's like, "Hey, listen, man, the season came and went. We're going to get you a futures deal. We're going to get you in a rookie minicamp. You'll be fine." So it was February. So I'm like, all right, cool. I got like 2 months to start training. So yeah, having fun, right? So it's Saturday, Sunday. I think we're off Monday. It was MLK weekend. So AAF calls. And I go down and play the AAF for Tim Lewis, who was a defensive coordinator for the Steelers.
Yep.
Tim Lewis sat behind my mom. in homeroom growing up.
See, man, I'm telling you,
shoot spitballs in her.
this is
Go
so
ahead.
crazy because there's so many parallels. Because Will Lewis, Tim's brother,
Yep.
I had on my staff in Winnipeg, and Tim actually took my space when I left the University of Pennsylvania. Tim went to the University of Pennsylvania, so like this is like 6 degrees of separation from Colin Thompson, man.
Crazy, man. Like, I got into football because of Tim. Like, I wasn't an Eagles fan growing up because we went to Steelers games. We went to Giants games where Tim was. And then, Tim shot spitballs in my mom's hair when they went to – my mom's last name was Leahy, and his last name was Lewis. So Lea, Leahy, and then Lew, he sat behind her. So, they were very close. They are very close. And, I was able to, go play for Tim in the AAF in Birmingham, Alabama, and the old gray lady where the toilets where you want to go number 2, the cinder blocks are up to your head. You can look over at the guy next to you.
Legion Field, baby.
Legion Field, and you can look across, and the guy's right in front of you, going number 2, looking right at you. So it was unbelievable. Playing the AAF, that shut down, and then I waited around and started coaching football and doing Eagles pre and post game shows, and I was coaching a 7th grade, 8th grade football team, and doing that, and then doing my podcast and training full time, and then just grinding, and then waiting for the XFL. Barely got drafted in the XFL. I got to the AAF because of Tim and Florida connection, and then I made connections in the AAF that got me into the XFL. And the director of football ops, Ron Selesky, who's a buddy of mine who coached arena football and played in the NFL, Ron gets me into Tampa and pounds the table for me, and they weren't even going to take me. I was a 3rd tight end there, 4th tight end there, and then barely got, kind of barely made the team out of camp and just grinded through it and had a role and had an opportunity. And the XFL shut down because of COVID after I started really getting stride and really getting a piece of the roster and getting, some good playing time. And then COVID was in the thick of it, 2-3 weeks in, and right before the NFL draft. And again, the guy by the name of Matt Rule gives me a buzz and says, "How you feeling? What's going on? I just watch your tape at the XFL. We're going to sign you." So kind of the rest is history, man. Crazy.
It's so awesome to hear those stories because, I think there's a mistaken belief amongst most fans that you guys have just it's been the gravy train your whole life, but it isn't. It doesn't work that way. Let me ask you a question, man. Like when you're driving out of the facility some nights, especially after a win, or after those moments, those special moments that you have as a professional athlete. And I'm not talking about paydays. I'm talking about the emotional paydays, the psychological paydays, the closeness of the locker room, seeing Sam Darnold with tears in his eyes, when he gets the game ball, all of those kinds. Do you ever just go, dude, I can't, this is like, do you appreciate it more now than you think you would have had it all gone so good for so long?
I see some of the younger guys that don't know.
Yeah.
They have no idea. Like, even in the XFL, I appreciate it. In the AAF, I appreciate it because I was on the street. I was at home. I was working. I was getting up in the morning, getting on the train at 6 a.m. in my hometown, getting to Temple at 7 a.m., running to work out and join the workout group a little late every day. I would work out with the training staff there, the Jeff Collins staff. Like, if without Jeff Collins, I'm not in this league because Jeff allowed me to train there with Dave Feely, who's now the head strength guy at Miami. I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry. But I would take the train to Temple in the morning, and I would get down there, work out for 3 hours, then come back and then work a job, work for my mom's company, running all the marketing for it at noon. And I'd be sweating from running to the train. And then or I'd move box with her in the morning, then I'd get on the train, go to Temple. I did the Dog and Pony Show for crazy for 2 years. I did that. I would go to Temple Monday through Friday and create a football atmosphere for myself so I would stay in the game.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then work, to pay bills, me. So it was just crazy, man. I don't know. Every day I look down at the emblem of my jersey and I'm like, this is unbeliable.
National, the
I got to play
NFL, that little
crazy, man.
badge right there. Hey, listen, man, I know that you Mike said to me that he just sent me a text. He said, "Hey, dude, he said he would come on for 10 or 15 minutes. You and I could sit and do this for the whole evening."
We could.
Tell me and more importantly, tell all the listeners how they can log into or lock on to Not for Long Media, because it is awesome. What you do is you want a great podcast to listen to. You got to listen to Collins, because it is fantastic stuff.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We put a lot of time, a lot of effort. Have a great group of people. Not for Long Media is where you find it, but I love our team, man. Like, we have a great team. We have a former college softball player. She runs the social media. We have a former college soccer player, went to Temple, who lives in Mexico City, who helps with the social media as well and helps with video editing. We have a former Cal football player who's a co-producer. Then we have another TV co-producer that helps me and kind of is my right-hand man, and Justin Ayers, who I met because he had an XFL Tampa Bay Vipers podcast. I liked his work and then hit him up. He used to have me on with his 10 followers, and I would come on a show and I hit him up. So it's a fun group. We have a great group. Not for Long Media. I would say this: it's Joe Rogan's episode without the weed, booze, and the 80 million. That's kind of how we do it.
I love it. Hey, who's this week? Who's this week? Who you guys got this week?
This week, our tight end Dan Arnold came out. Next week, Kevin Clark of The Ringer will be coming on.
Awesome.
And then we'll have a Barstool Sports. We have a personality from there, Rear Admiral, coming on. He runs their hockey podcast. I'm a huge hockey fan, huge Flyers fan, NHL fan in general. We've had Christian McCaffrey on. We've had, all different personalities. We've had chefs on. We've had comics on. We have the creator of HBO's Entourage, Doug Ellen, on. We've had everything. That's why I'm saying the Joe Rogan vibe is like Joe has so many different people on, and that's what I want. So whatever you're into, there's something for you. Lifestyle experts. We're talking organizing rooms and houses, but it's all about success. People that have had success, good people that I've been able to touch over the years and get in touch with. Some coaches, our strength coach here in Carolina. You name it, we've had it. So it's been fun, man. And the train rolls on as the season goes on. It's been fun.
All right. Panthers this week. You looking forward to this one? You know, what's the give me the you don't have to give me the game plan, but give me the outlook heading into this game.
Yeah, so we have New Orleans, obviously a divisional opponent. They're very important. They're coming off a nice win against Green Bay. So, we're dialed in per usual. Like I was just talking on a previous show. What's your prep? What's your process? My process is the same every week. As you know, Coach, you got to be consistent on what you do, believe in what you do. So just grinding, man. I always do the 12-hour days, 13-hour days on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then you get a, kind of a half day on Friday and Saturday. And then, boom, we're rolling, man.
Doing it again, baby.
Believe in your technique.
Yeah.
Work on individual drills are like, it's my sanctuary. That's how I know I'm getting ready to play.
I love it, brother.
Yeah, man, just keep it going, staying sharp. Got a lift in today. Just focused on the little things I got to do. I'm really worried about like myself and how I can work on my game, and that will make me a better player, better teammate, better leader.
Yeah, that's all you can control. That's all you can control,
that's it, man.
Listen.
I watch film. Don't be wrong, but I watch less film now than ever. I really do. Yeah. I used to be crazy about it. Now I just watch what I need to know, and then I roll.
Yep, I'm with you. Hey, brother, it's great having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. And, this off season, you got to get over to Hawaii and spend a little time with us.
I need to book a honeymoon because I got married and we couldn't do it because of COVID. So maybe we do a little Hawaii trip.
I tell you what, man, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have. We got plenty of room, as they say in Hawaii.
We'll do a podcast.
All right, sounds good, man. And take care of yourself. Colin Thompson from the Carolina Panthers. One of the all-time really good guys in the National Football League, and a guy that's earned everything he's gotten in his career.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Hey, that was awesome. Michael, that was an awesome surprise, and what a great guy to talk to. I could talk to that guy, I swear to God, for the whole show.
I keep cutting people off when they say goodbye. He said, appreciate it. Yep, sorry, Colin. Thanks very much. Colin, best of luck against the Saints at the weekend. It's a big game. I was actually trying to find there's a video. Jeff, have you seen the video of Jameis Winston dancing?
Yeah, I seen it. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Hey,
here,
I tell you, that is a big game now. That is really, really a big game this weekend for Carolina. If Carolina's going to, have a chance to surprise people, and I'm going to say this about Jameis. I was really impressed with how he took care of the football. Obviously the time with Sean Payton has been good for him. He's listened. He's, he didn't put his team at risk. He does give the Saints something that they've lacked for the last few years, which is the ability to push the ball down the field. They got young receivers that can run. That Saints defense is outstanding. If he can stay like that, if he can stay within himself like that through the course of the season, the Saints are going to be a tough out. I'm going to tell you right now.
Jeffrey, he had the same issue as I have, nearsightedness, and I for one am delighted for him. Not here. How good did he look at the weekend? Oh
Yeah,
my God! Like, it was incredible Sunday.
I tell you what, you talk about some of the quarterback play you saw this weekend was phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. And if you're the National Football League, and the quarterbacks are the money guys. They're the guys. They're the stars. They're the game really. And to see so many young quarterbacks that play so well, I think that's outstanding. Fred Flunk's got one, says, "Aloha, lads. I'm still miffed at Mike McCarthy." My man Fred is a Dallas Cowboy through and through, and I'm going to tell you something. He is frustrated with the coaching going on in Dallas. And, again, I can understand some of that. Owen Thomas from Mumbles Wales says, behind the Bucks, who is the number 2 pick in the NFC? I think the Rams, and I agree with you. I really do.
Number 1, Jeff.
Well, hey, think about this, man. Look at what Stafford has done for that offense. 2 really beautiful throws for long touchdowns. They are now going to be, I think, with that nasty defense that they've got, and they'll run the ball enough by committee that I think that's a very, very good football team. I agree with you. I think the Rams are one of the teams that, you got to put in this mix of teams to talk about heading forward.
There's definitely, Jeff, just so you're aware, there is an issue with Periscope tonight with comments. I think just Periscope is refreshing itself, and I know it is closing officially this week, and there's something else coming out. So I know people are trying to comment, trying to engage, which is good. We've got a celebrity, Jeff, a journalist from the Business Post in Ireland, Emmett Ryan, who says, "Crikey, Michael is everywhere. Head coach, is Cam Newton likely to land somewhere soon?" Big NFL fan, Emmett Ryan.
Emmett, I think, there is no question that Michael is everywhere. He is the king of all media in Ireland now. He's the
king of media.
He's the Howard Stern of media in Ireland. But, talk about another superstar, Cam Newton, right? We talked about Michael, so now let's move on to Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton's going to find a place to play, again, because it just, they're as good as some of the quarterbacks are. There are teams that are going to need, if it's not a starter, they're certainly going to need quality backups. And, I think he was willing to play on a friendly deal for New England. I'm sure if he wants to play, that he's going to get an opportunity to play. Again, I thought that he showed an awful lot of maturity in his time at New England. And, I'm rooting for him because I think he's a good guy. I've had one interaction with him. My son is a huge Carolina Panther fan, and they were playing the Texans. So I took him down to the Texans-Carolina game, and the Texans got us field passes for the game. And, we're down on the field before the game, and all of a sudden out of the tunnel in the stadium in Houston comes Cam. And I go over and I talk to Ron Rivera, and we were talking. And my son now has got like stars in his eyes. Like, his eyes this big. And I said, tell Coach Rivera who your favorite player is. And he kind of stammered and stuttered. He goes, Cam Newton. And Ron Rivera told him, he said, well, go on the field. He's warming up. Go stand by him. You can stand by him while he's warming up. And I watched Cam. My son, he doesn't even know who my son is, and he's about 10 feet away from him while he's warming up. And they started a conversation, and he was like, my son didn't sleep for a week. I swear to God, he was so amazed that his idol would spend that kind of time with him, especially right before a game. And so I've kind of always been a Cam Newton fan because of it.
Sorry, I was getting. It's late here, man.
Hey, wait a second. You can't be falling asleep on the show, brother.
And here, before half of UK, Ireland, and Europe does fall asleep, here is the slate of games, Jeff and Sky. Let's make this a weekly thing. I don't know. Let's see the crack. Who have we got tomorrow night?
All right. I'll tell you what. I'll defer to you. Who do you like, Giants or Washington?
Washington by 24.
Whoa.
Daniel Jones, Jeff. Jeff. Daniel Jones. Come on, Jeff. Come on.
What do you mean, come on? The thing that I think about Daniel Jones is at what point are you going to protect the football? I think it's 20 fumbles now in his career as a quarterback, and that is way, way too many. The Giants are still flawed. Obviously, the running game's not back yet. He needs a running game. Ingram's hurt. The offensive line has not developed like they thought it was going to develop. It's a work in progress still in New York. I kind of like Taylor Heineke on the other side of the thing. And obviously that Washington Football Club defense is outstanding. Washington, I think, has got a good and young and very talented football team, and they're only going to get better.
Yeah, and to see my team take lumps out of the Giants, Jeff, last weekend was something else.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to talk to you about that because you didn't have much good to say about Teddy Bridgewater early. Now, what's your call after a week of Teddy?
Just watch my reaction. Just say Teddy Bridgewater and watch me, right?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Hallelujah. No, it was cool you have to see us actually control a game, you know?
I got a little insight on that from a friend of mine who worked for Pat Shurmur with the Giants. And it was interesting. He said that even when Shurmur was with the Giants, he coveted Teddy Bridgewater. He wanted Teddy Bridgewater because he had him as the offensive coordinator in Minnesota and really thought he was a really, really fine quarterback. And so now to have that kind of guy, embrace your career, I think that's a good sign. Broncos look good. I'm going to tell you, Broncos look good. They will paste the Jags.
Here, Jeff, we'll go back to the Sky games, but Broncos, Jags, and Broncos, Jets. 3-0, no excuses. 49ers, Eagles, that's a great game, Jeff. Fair play to Neil for picking that game, Jeff.
Yeah, I think for Neil, I tell you what, it'd be interesting to see whether the 49ers, I think the 49ers took the foot off the gas too soon. I mean, Bosa even admitted he was over on the sidelines and took his tape off, and then they had to come back and fight their tail off to beat the Lions. They're going all the way across the country, which is hard to do, and they're playing an Eagle team that's starting to get a little confidence. Jalen Hurts was outstanding. The offensive line, Jordan Mailata, again, there are a lot of good things about the Eagles right now. Again, Dallas Goedert is growing into be one of the better tight ends in the National Football League. So I still say San Francisco. I think that San Francisco has an overall better club right now.
Mozart out for the season as well, and he's actually in a contract year, so that'll be interesting. I think the 49ers slightly, Jeff. This game's intriguing because Dallas now, they lose the first game. Okay, they put up a good, Dak Prescott looked very good. Really shut people up last Thursday night, but this is a big game. And Justin Herbert, it's got all the makings of a classic, Jeffrey.
It does, and shoot, it's hard to say in the second week of the season that this is a big game, but you look at it and say the Cowboys certainly do not want to start 0-2, and the Chargers have a chance to be 2-0. This is their first game at home under Brandon Staley. I think that this is going to be a shootout game because I think both of these offenses can put points on the board. I give the edge to the Chargers because I think their defense is better than the Cowboy defense. And again, I think the Cowboy defense is improved under Quinn, but right now they're having a hard time getting to the passer. And if you don't get pressure on Herbert, it can be a long day.
I'm going to pick the Cowboys.
All right, there you go. Fred Flunk, our buddy Fred Flunk will love that one.
He will indeed. Apparently, Hamilton's back on BT Sport again this Friday night. Jeff, you're just the superstar. In TV, right? Two more games, and then we'll bounce. Chiefs Ravens. It's almost as if, Jeff, they don't want me to go to bed on a Sunday night. Like, how am I supposed to go to work after that? Chiefs Ravens, Sunday Night Football.
I think that's going to be obviously a great football game. I was disappointed in the Ravens offensively. They got away. And I don't know, maybe this is Roman trying to show that they can play with in 11 personnel with 3 wide receivers, a tight end and a back. I think they need to get back to being who they are because they have a hard time protecting the passer when they get out of the big sets and the play action and the run game and all that stuff. Hey, don't listen to all the noise. Just be you. That's what I'd say to them. And the Chiefs, defense did not look good against Cleveland, and I think Cleveland's a good football team. I'm not taking anything away from the Browns, but the Chiefs, gosh almighty, it's so easy to do it, but you just can't keep putting it on Patrick Mahomes to make miracle plays every week. But, again, they have the ability to score with anybody in the league. So I want to take the Chiefs.
I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. I just think they'll grind the result like they always seem to do. As a Raiders fan, Jeff, I don't buy that. As a Raiders fan, you must have been delighted watching that Ravens performance.
Well, I was disappointed on one hand because, Wink Martindale and Rob Ryan are friends of mine, and you always want to see your friends do well. And, it just, they did what they do. They're a big zero blitz team, and they're going to do that to the bitter end. And I agree with it. They didn't get any help from the offense. They turned the ball over. I think the Ravens are going to be fine, but if they're going to beat the Chiefs, they're going to have to control the football, and they're going to have to go back to playing Raven football. So I still think that even though the game's in Baltimore, I give the Chiefs an edge.
Big game there. Who would have thought week 2 for the Packers against the Lions would have been a big game? Jared Goff, I was actually quite impressed with the mini comeback.
Stop it. Anyway, now, I saw a thing that the National Football League put out, and it said top 5 passing performances of week 1, and Jared Goff was listed in there. Now, if you just go by the yards, yes, okay. But what was it? About 65 of those was on a screen pass to the tailback, right? So let's be honest about what we actually saw. He looks, better than he looked with the Rams. I was impressed, and I've always had a soft spot for the Lions. I was impressed with the resiliency, the toughness, and the effort that the Lions gave, which I didn't see under Matt Patricia. Now, are they good enough to beat the Packers? I don't think so, because I think this is not one of those games that you really look forward to if you're the Lions, because you got Aaron Rodgers, who just came off an embarrassing performance in New Orleans, and then you can bet he's going to want to hang a half 100 on the Lions if he can. So I think this is going to be a better Lions team. I like what Campbell's doing with it right now, but I think the Packers will bounce back against the Lions.
Jeff, I think Aaron Rodgers was spending too much time around your neck of the woods in Hawaii all summer, and he wasn't training.
But you know what? I think that's there's some truth to that, right? At the time when he would be normally with his receivers and with his football team, and there's a lot of reasons why that happened, not just Aaron Rodgers' personality or whatever you want to say, but it's time for them to put all that behind them and start playing better football.
Yes, sir. Jeff, that's it. That's it for another week. We're gonna plan to be back for next Tuesday. I know for a fact I've got one guest sorted already, so I'll try and surprise you again and see what we can do.
I tell you what, it was so awesome that you got Colin Thompson from the Panthers to be on the show. He's a great guy. It was fun, obviously, having Tom on the show from the British Bird Gang, having you back with us, getting interaction with the fans. How are we going to be able to fix this so that we can get more interactive with the fans? Because we had a bunch of people that got in and then couldn't stay in because of our challenges with Periscope.
There is something going on. So Periscope, it's officially closing down on the 17th. So all the servers are closing down. We can do it like on a back way where I can type the comments in, but I'm sure at the end of this week they'll come out with something. But I just think on Twitter at the minute it's a wee bit difficult. But look, thanks to everybody that watched, and I can see everyone was watching.
Hey, what's your nickname?
Mike.
Magic Mike. All right.
Magic Mike. So, that's the name of my fantasy team, Jeff.
So I think you'll make magic, and we will have another awesome show next week, brother. Are you going? Where are you doing your game from? Where are you doing the NFL games from this weekend with Irish NFL?
We are we're just doing a show on the internet this week, but we're down in Dublin on Sunday. So if anybody wants to join me for a pint, I'll not be drinking because I'm driving, but feel free to come down. Every game's on. The bar has got every game on.
All right, now
it is like Mecca.
This you know what this marks? Week 2 is what? 1 week closer to me getting back over there and seeing you guys and the tribe in the UK. So Look forward to it very much. Thank you for everybody who listened and was a part of the show. Michael, outstanding job. Again, so from all of us here at Coffee with a Coach, aloha.